Hey guys, welcome to Amity Tracks. I just wanted to do a real quick review discussion over something new that was put out by the Police. One of my all-time favorite bands. I love the Police, and you don't get a whole lot of product from the Police. It's just so whenever something new comes out, I'm usually pretty excited about it. They have just put out a supposedly limited edition on picture disc, vinyl. I guess it's been remastered, but more than that, actually resequenced with some additional tracks, a new version of their fourth album, 1981's Ghost in the Machine. And here's my original. I'll show you the new one in a second. But here's my original copy here, that classic cover of the digitized heads of the Police. Right, there's Sting right there. Oh, there you go. There's Sting right there. I think it's supposed to be Andy Summers here, and there's Stuart Copeland right here. Um, and this is a great record. First of all, I well, I'm a big fan of all their records. They only put out 5 studio records, right? I'm a big fan of all of them. But this was really kind of the dividing line. Those first 3 records sort of were kind of a piece as far as like sound, and then with Ghost in the Machine and then Synchronicity, I don't know, a full shift, but kind of a bigger sound. It was with this one that they started adding some synthesizers and some horns and just kind of fattening the sound a bit. Even some steel drums, right? And every little thing she does is magic. Um, so great record. The new one looks like this. So here it is. So this now obviously basically reproducing the album cover there for the first side. On the second side looks like that, which is the artwork, which is on the inner sleeve where the original record was there. And so whereas the original was 11 tracks, they have added 3 tracks here. So it is now up to 14 tracks. Although I think in their reimagining and reordering, um, I think 2 of the extra tracks are just kind of tacked on here, like as sort of bonuses and stuff. So, but one of the extra tracks, I think they kind of meant because. Well, let me explain, because what it says here, and I've kind of gone online. I've tried to read more about this. I hadn't seen a whole lot of info actually, other than just what it states here. It says featuring the alternate original track listing and sequence. So from that, I take that they, had kind of an earlier track listing they were thinking about, and for some reason changed their mind, and we got what we have on the actual release. But this is kind of one of the I guess the original what they originally were thinking for a track listing. It's real different. I mean, it's real jumbled up. It makes it for a very interesting listen. And then I think in that alternate track listing, they put one of those extra songs in there too. And then, like I said, I think the other 2 extra songs they've just tacked on at the end here as bonus tracks. All 3 of these have been available in places, so it's not like they're completely new to Police fans. But it's mostly CD. I mean, unless you got singles and stuff, but mostly on CD. If you got that Message in a Box, that really good, I mean, great 4 CD box set that they put out a long time ago, where they had a bunch, B sides and extras and stuff. All of these were on that. So it's "I Burn for You," which was a great song, and the Police version of that, because Sting solo in his solo years has redone that song too some. But the Police version, was on that box set. It's also here. That song was on the Brimstone and Treacle soundtrack originally. And then 2 B sides. And like I said, I think the 2 B sides they've just tacked on here at the end, which is "Once Upon a Daydream" and the Andy Summers written instrumental "Shambell." And both great. I mean, all 3 of these extra songs are awesome. I mean, I like them a lot. Um, so I guess first things first, sound. If you're just buying this, because is it really an upgrade? In the remastering and in the sound. I've li- you know I I mean I've listened to this several times now all the way through, and then I did for the purposes of the video and just out of curiosity, I picked a couple tracks and listened to them back to back, first here and then here, to compare. Um, If you're buying it just for, an upgrade in the sound, I don't think it's that different. I mean, I really, at least to my ears, I didn't hear a huge difference. Um, on this one, for some reason, I could hear a little bit more, separation in the instruments on the original mix. Because I've always been real happy with the original mix. I've always thought this record sounded great. So I never thought it was in need of any sort of dramatic makeover sound wise. But the instruments are kind of separated a little bit more here. This, I don't know, maybe has sort of a more cohesive sound. Everything is kind of blended a little bit better. Just in a matter of taste. But unless you're sitting there like really like what's the difference? I mean, it doesn't jump out at you. It really doesn't. So if you're thinking of buying this simply for an upgrade in sound, I don't think it's worth the price because this isn't super cheap. Um, but I didn't buy it for the upgrade in sound. I bought it because I was pretty intrigued with the alternate track listing, and I really wanted those 3 extra songs, which I've always liked on vinyl. So I mean that's why I bought it. I also didn't buy it for the picture disc. I'm not a big picture disc fan. Honestly, I don't care that much about it, and I don't know. I kind of like the classic plain black vinyl myself, but yeah. So I didn't buy it for the picture disc artwork either. But whatever. So let's talk about the different sequences. And I don't know which one works better. So as you probably know, if you're familiar with this one at all, this one goes as follows, right? Side 1 opens with Spirits in the Material World. Then you got the huge single, Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic, in the 2 slot. Then you got Invisible Sun in the 3. And I mean, those 3 songs are awesome. All 3 of those were singles, right? And then Hungry for You. And then their longest track that they ever put on a studio album, Demolition Man, right? Great rocker. Kind of those rare points where it sounds like they're kind of stretching out and jamming a little bit. And so, yeah, so that's side 1. Side 2, Too Much Information, Rehumanize Yourself, One World, Omega Man, Secret Journey, Darkness. Right? That's the track listing that we know so well, right? If you're a fan. So this is interesting. Let me read to you this alternate track listing. So this one opens with Invisible Sun, which it's a toss up for me. What's better, because Spirits of the Material World is a fantastic opener. It's a great opener. But so Invisible Sun actually makes for a really good opener too, in my view. That kind of slow fade in, it's kind of cool, as an opening track. So anyway, so side 1, Invisible Sun, then Demolition Man in the 2 slot, which I don't know, great song, great energy, but to me that always seems that ought to maybe close aside like it does on the original. Then Secret Journey, then Darkness, then in the 5 slot you got Spirits in the Material World, then Too Much Information, and then side 1 closes with Omega Man. It's a great song, great Andy Summers song. It's kind of interesting. I was reading Omega Man. The label wanted to put Omega Man out as a single, but the story goes, and this wouldn't surprise me at all, is Sting nixed that because Andy Summers wrote that song, and it wasn't a Sting written song. I think Sting wanted all the singles to be from his pen. Killer song. I love Omega Man. Side 2 opens with One World. Sorry, I was just comparing to where that was on the original. Then Rehumanize Yourself. Then I Burn for You, thrown into the 3 slot. Then Hungry for You. And then Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic. And again, if you are considering those 2 B-sides as just sort of, bonus tracks tacked on here, this thing closes out with Once Upon a Daydream and then Shambell. So what I'm guessing is they would have closed out, if they had released this as the album closed out with Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic, which I don't know, man. That's a tough call because, such a killer, great pop single. I think the greatest pop single is that, that, and they got it in the 2 slot here, and they have it here, what would essentially be, I guess, closing out the second side. I could see arguments for both sides. I can't really decide. So overall, which track listing? It's really hard to judge because I love this record so much. I've listened to it so much in my life that just the original track listing is kind of ingrained, in my consciousness, and it's hard for me to imagine, it in any other way. But I gotta say that this works too. I mean, I guess I would argue in the end, leave well enough alone and just go with the original track listing because it really. I mean, one of the things I really like about Ghost in the Machine is, I mean, it does really flow well. I mean, the album flows really well already together. So you know, kind of like with a not. I never thought it really needed any sort of remastering. I never really thought Ghost in the Machine really needed any resequencing any either. But it's an interesting experiment, I guess. Like I said, this is cool to have if you're a big Police fan, which I am. So I was gonna pick it up, but unless you are and you have this, you're okay with this, I think. Well, all right, guys. Just want to give some thoughts on that because I just picked that up recently. That just came out. So we'll see you next time. Please do subscribe. We really appreciate it. And like the videos and hit the bell for notifications, all that good stuff. We'll see you next time.